Alright, so this will be your challenge problem today. We will have a whole lesson based on this Pythagorean theorem, but I wanted to at least expose you to it. The very first thing you have to realize is that we're talking about right triangles, and I know that because I have this little marker here which shows a 90-degree angle. And basically there's three parts to a triangle. There's a leg, and a hypotenuse. Now the legs are the shorter pieces that are attached to the 90-degree angle, and the hypotenuse is always directly across from the 90-degree angle, and it's always, as I said before, your longest side. So that's how I know what's what here. Now your a squared plus b squared equals c squared is your formula that we'll start using. But what this means is your legs squared should equal the area. So the area of this leg plus the area of this leg should equal the area of your hypotenuse. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to realize. So if you have to rewind this and play again, check this out. But let's now look at what it's saying for this problem here. So I have my triangle, and what I basically know is I know the area, or I know the length of one side. I do not know this leg, but I know this one here is 5. And what I meant before by the area is, check this out. If I go through and I draw a square, and I know that this length here is 4, and it's a square, so this has to be 4 as well. That means 4 times 4 is 16, right? This here is x times x, which is x squared. And this here is 5 times 5, which is 25. So basically what my equation, remember I had my a squared plus b squared equals c squared. If I go through here and plug in what I have x squared plus 16 equals 25. And now I'm going to go through and solve it algebraically like I always would. I'd subtract 16 from both sides. And I'll have x squared equals 9, right? And this x squared, if I want to get x by itself, I have to do the inverse of squared, which is square root. So I square root this side here, I square root this side here, and I get x equals 3. So I plug in a 3 here. Let's just substitute. So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 16 is 25, and that equals 25. So it makes it all true. So I'll say that the answer here is x is 3, right? Let's try one more. So if we look at this one here, again, I have my hypotenuse and I have a leg because it's directly across. Sometimes you'll get both legs and you have to solve for the hypotenuse. It all depends on what it's asking for. But if I look here, I have my, again, it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And I have my x, I have my 6, and I have an 8. And remember, it's about the area, right? So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to make a square. And this would be 6 times 6, really, which is 36. This here is x times x, which is x squared. And this is 8 times 8, which is 64. And let's plug in what I know now. So I have my legs, which is this side over here. So I have x squared plus this leg here, which is 36, equals my hypotenuse, which is 64. And I want to subtract 36, subtract 36. Okay, so I'm going to borrow from this, 5, 1. So I'll have 8, 28. So x squared equals 28, right? So now I'm going to go through and I want to get x squared equals 28. I want to figure out what x equals, so I'll square root this, and I'll square root this, so I have x equals the square root of 28. And that is my answer. So if I look here, here's my answer right here. And sure enough, I have it. So again, if you don't have this one mastered, I totally get it. We'll have a whole lesson based on this on Friday, I believe. But give it a try. And then if you get stuck, click on this watch video or use hint. Again, this is the challenge problem of the day. So if you spend a lot of your time at the very end after you've completed everything doing this one, that's okay. It'll give you a lot of experience and exposure for what we'll do later on.